Welcome to About the Winelands. In this show, we will be chatting to influencers and leaders in the wine industry, winemakers, restaurants, and other businesses. Tune in every Wednesday and Friday for our latest episodes. You will find us on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcast, and Apple Podcast. Be sure to subscribe so that you do not miss out. Now, to get on with the show. Today, about the story and the history of the Cape Winelands. Now, the Cape Winelands is a region of the Western Cape of South Africa. It's the largest wine producing region in South Africa, and it's divided into 6 main wine regions, which each of these regions offers its own unique wine route. We've got Constantia, Stellenbosch, Franschhoek, Paarl, Robertson, and Wellington. And these are also the most popular wine route regions in South Africa. So the story of the winelands is intertwined with the history of Cape Town. From 1652, Cape Town was a Dutch colony, or South Africa was a Dutch colony. It was settled by the Dutch East Indian Company, with the first governor in Cape Town called Jan van Riebeeck. And Jan van Riebeeck, on the 2nd of February 1659, recorded in his diary that he produced the first wine in South Africa. In 1685, the Constantia estate was established on the mountain slopes in a valley facing False Bay by the governor of the Cape at that time, Simon van der Stel. Now, Simon van der Stel is actually legendary because he was one of the guys that settled most of the early towns, or had a hand in the settling of most of the early towns in and around Cape Town and in the winelands. In Constantia, his Vin de Constance soon acquired a very good reputation. But actually, it was a guy called Hendrik Kloete who bought the homestead in 1778 who really made the name of Constantia famous. It became a favorite tipple of European kings and also emperors like Frederick the Great and Napoleon. So it really, until today, Constantia wines has a very, very good international reputation. The next region that was established was called Stellenbosch, and Stellenbosch holds the honor of being the most well-known town in South Africa. It was the second settlement settled after Cape Town, and Stellenbosch, because of its history, culture, natural beauty, sport, education, Stellenbosch University is well known, and wine, and this has made Stellenbosch resonate around the globe as one of South Africa's premier tourist, wine, business, and also education attractions. The city of Stellenbosch is a fantastic place to visit. It's a university town, which means that the university campus is intertwined with the town. It's got the natural beauty of mountains around the town, and of course vineyards surrounding the whole place. Just a fantastic place to visit. The recorded history of Stellenbosch dates back to 1679, when this name was given to a small island on the Eerste River by Simon van der Stel, who I said before was the governor of the Cape at that time. The Eerste River, which today still ripples through Stellenbosch, was so named as this happened to be the first in Dutch Eerste River where the Dutch settlers came upon after leaving their Cape Town base. After its discovery, Stellenbosch was quickly identified as an area in which to settle with great potential for agriculture. The surrounding areas provide rich soil, the correct climate for producing vegetables, and as the farmers soon found out, vines. And Stellenbosch soon saw its hills and valleys planted with vines and also, of course, other agricultural crops. Just a quick interruption.
But I do need to remind you that we are currently in a very difficult time. The South African government has set up a fund where businesses and individuals can donate to support your country through this crisis. Go to the website now and add your small donation: www.solidarityfund.co.za. Please join us all in the fight against COVID-19. That is at www.solidarityfund.co.za. Now, let's get on with the show.
The skilled vintners that was sent to this area produced vines that bore wonderful fruit, and it's proven to even today that Stellenbosch is world renowned for the quality of its wines. And now vines and vineyard are definitely the area's most dominant agricultural feature. And like I said, Stellenbosch is a tourist attraction par excellence, one of the best in the world, and definitely on your bucket list should you ever visit South Africa if you're an international tourist, or Cape Town if you're, a tourist from inside South Africa. The next area is also a fantastic little town. It's called the Franschhoek Valley, and it was settled over 300 years ago by the French Huguenots. On the 3rd of October 1685, the Dutch East India Company in Amsterdam decided to send French Huguenot refugees to the Cape for settlement. The Huguenots were French Protestants who were members of the Calvinist Reformed Church, which was established in 1550. And from the mid-1500s until the mid-1600s, Huguenots were persecuted in France for their religious belief. Therefore, thousands of Huguenots fled to countries such as Switzerland, Germany, England, America, the Netherlands, Poland, and of course South Africa. All the places where they could enjoy religious freedom. The Dutch East India Company encouraged the Huguenots to immigrate to the Cape because firstly they shared the same religious beliefs, they were Protestant, and also because most Huguenots were either highly trained craftsmen or experienced farmers, or both. And in 1688, the first large group of Huguenots, 180 of them, mostly families, arrived at the Cape on board a ship called the Voorschoten. And most of them were settled in Franschhoek. This is Dutch for French corner. And Franschhoek has a rich history of French. And of course, they brought their vines with them and settled fantastic vineyards in that valley. Today, Franschhoek is an exceptional little town to visit. It's definitely on a day trip if you're visiting Cape Town, or even a place to stay over for a weekend. Quaint little town with hundreds of gift shops, restaurants. It's been noted as one of the culinary, if not the culinary capital of South Africa, and definitely on your bucket list. The next area is a place called Paarl. Now, the Paarl Valley was first colonized in 1687 when land was allocated to 23 families from Stellenbosch. The district was initially known as Drakenstein after the church congregation that settled there. The Dutch Reformed Church basically settled in every town in South Africa at that time. But when a village was founded at the foot of Paarl Rock in 1690, it was named Paarl. And the name comes from when it rained on the granite rocks on the hillside, it glistened like pearls or diamonds. And Dutch name for pearl is Paarl. As far as the wine industry is concerned, Paarl boasts the headquarters of the industry in South Africa. The main cooperative is called the Wine Growers Association, KWV, and of course it has the Paarl wine route. The KWV is a South African institution that over the years has acquired an international reputation, has many achievements, and has had a fantastic imprint on the quality of the industry. Paarl, another town on your bucket list if you're visiting South Africa or the Western Cape. fantastic place to visit. It's also lately become popular for lifestyle estates where people come and visit and actually live in the winelands, and definitely a place to visit. So the tourism industry, or real visits to wine estates didn't really start until the 70s. 1971, the first official wine route was founded by Frans Milan of Simonse, Spats Sparring of Delheim, and Neil Hubert of Speer. They started a trend where wine estates invited people to come and taste wine on the estates, enjoy it there. They built tasting rooms. This developed into world-class five-star restaurants, and of course accommodation, spas, and today a wineland experience is fantastic. It's part of a new trend. Started off as wine tourism, has now actually expanded into a new concept called lifestyle tourism, where it's really an experience to visit the winelands. The Cape Winelands and the cultural landscape thereof were also added to the UNESCO World Heritage Tentative List on June the 24th, 2004. With everything that happened, the wine routes being formed in 1971, and all the development taking place, and also after South Africa really became free in 1994 and were accepted into and embraced by the world, tourism in the Western Cape exploded. And like I said, in recent years, no visit to South Africa is complete without a winelands experience. South African winelands itself has expanded and now includes the Brede River Valley, the Klein Karoo, and the Olifants River. It also includes the otherwise southern districts of Bottreville, Cape Agulhas, Overberg, with towns like Hermanus, the Hemel and Aarde Valley. I just recently spoke to a very interesting owner of a very interesting estate there called Seven Springs. Go listen to that podcast if you have the time. Plettenberg Bay, Walker Bay, and the wards of Cedarburg, Ceres, Herbertsdale, Prince Albert Valley, Ruiterbos, and Swartberg. So as you can see, South African winelands are now, an expansive territory, and definitely, like I said, should be on your bucket list. So all I can say after all of this short history, but one that can't really be told unless you experience the place, the people, and the wine. So please come visit us in the winelands.
Thank you for supporting our show. If you would like to get more exposure for your business, please have a look at our sponsorship options. Thanks again for supporting About the Winelands. Please follow us on YouTube and on our social media channels. All details and links are in the description.